Hello everyone and welcome to The Last Lap. My name is Jimmy. In today's episode we will be reviewing all of the action that went down at Phoenix Raceway this past weekend on Saturday and Sunday. There was the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday and the NASCAR Cup Series on Sunday. So without further ado, let's hop straight into the action. My guy Matthew, how you doing today?
Not really the best race for me, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, it was a tough one for a few drivers. We'll hop into that in a little bit. But before we hop in, we just want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel. We upload videos. How often, Matthew? When do we upload?
Normally, when the race, like before race weekend or right after a race is over.
What days of the week? Come on, man. You know this.
Oh, Monday and Fridays.
There we go. We got it. We upload every Monday and Friday. Monday is kind of our review video, and Friday is more like our predictions video for the weekend. Outside of YouTube, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at The Last Lap News. We post some stuff on there pretty much throughout the week. But now we're going to hop into what happened throughout the weekend, starting with the Xfinity Series. That was on Saturday. In Stage 1, that was pretty calm. Austin Cindric ended up getting the win there. And then in Stage 2, one of the, I guess you could call him favorites of the event, Noah Gragson, he had some type of mechanical issue or something. There was some type of liquid coming out from the car and ended up causing a fire underneath the car, and that pretty much took him out of the race, unfortunately. And then I saw, NASCAR on NBC. Wasn't it them? They posted some on Instagram, and they were something like, "What a problems" or something.
What a bummer.
Yeah, what a bummer. That was hilarious. NASCAR on NBC, whoever runs that Instagram account is straight savage. But that was hilarious. Stage 2 went to Daniel Hemrick in the number 18 Joe Gibbs car. And then Stage 3 was pretty crazy because there were about 3 or 4, 5 wrecks in the last 70 laps of that race. Starting with Harrison Burton, he spun out with 70 to go. 50 to go, Josh Berry cut a tire after running into the wall. And he had a G-rated sign to give somebody after that wreck.
That was funny.
I'll just leave it at that, but that was pretty funny.
That was funny.
And then 35 to go, Brandon Jones got spun and hit the inside wall. And then 9 to go, there was another caution. And then there was another caution that set up a green-white checker finish. And that restart was absolutely insane because the front straightaway there at Phoenix spreads all the way to the bottom of the track, and they can go 5, 6, 7, however many wide, and they somehow make it work. And it was Jeb Burton, right? That like made them.
Yeah.
He drove it in there super hot and came up the track, and like I don't know how they didn't officially wreck, but a few cars hit the wall, and Austin Cindric ended up winning the Xfinity race, his second win of the season. Ty Gibbs, Joe Gibbs Racing, making his second start, finishes second. So that was an impressive run for him. Matthew, what's your thoughts on the Xfinity race and how it played out?
Well, the Xfinity race was definitely a great race as always. The Xfinity races never disappoint. That was definitely funny, Josh Berry, giving the old classic right there, the double classics. That was funny. Other than that, it was pretty good. There was a lot of chaos that last stage. I have no idea what in the world Jeb Burton was doing with that move. He was nowhere near the lead when he was going to do that, so I have no idea why in the world he thought that was a good idea to just dive bomb in there and put like 3 or 4 cars in the wall. And there was another thing. I feel like NASCAR should have definitely thrown out the caution for that, because there was like 3 or 4 guys up in the wall and there was no caution for I have no idea why, but it is what it is. Ty Gibbs, man, he almost won again and almost went 2 for 2. He was this close, but he just fell a little short there at the last turn there. Well, yeah, Austin Cindric gets a second win this season, and we already know he's probably It'll mean a championship for a lock for sure, but we don't want to guarantee anything because we all know how that goes in this playoff format. So we're not gonna jump the gun on that yet, but he is a threat for it right now.
Yeah, I think NASCAR should have definitely thrown the caution there. Not really because there were cars in the wall, but from one of the camera angles, it looked like one of the rear bumpers of one of the cars flew off the car. I'm not sure if it landed on the track or flew over the fence or whatever, but I feel like NASCAR probably should have thrown it for debris rather than instead of the cars being in the wall. But unfortunately, they didn't make the call. It's all good, whatever. They're not going to get every call right, just like NBA, NFL, etc. So
yeah,
Austin Cindric ended up getting his second win of the season. Like you said, probably a championship for a lock, but you never know with the whole playoff format. He could have one bad race and that could completely screw him over. But now we're going to transition into the Cup Series. And to start the race, there was already some issues. There were 3 Hendrick Motorsports cars that had to go to the rear. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and William Byron. But that wouldn't really stop them. They came up through the field relatively quick. There was a competition caution at lap 30. Not really much of a big deal. Everybody came down and pitted. And then lap 46, Alex Bowman got spun and hit the wall. Thankfully, it wasn't too much damage, and he was able to continue. Stage 1 went to Ryan Blaney, and the Penske cars were straight up dominant in that stage. They finished 1, 2, 3. I think it was Blaney, then Brad, then Logano, or Blaney, Logano, then Brad. I don't know. But all 3 of them finished 1, 2, 3 in that stage. And lap 90, Cody Ware and Anthony Alfredo got together. Alfredo backed into the wall pretty hard, and Ware, I don't remember. He he came up the track and basically wiped Alfredo out somehow. I don't know if there was any previous.
Really, it looked like he almost got turned, intentionally. It seemed like from that angle that they showed.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't show much of it, and they didn't really show anything that happened before that. So, could have been I mean, Anthony Alfredo didn't give the finger to him, so I guess it wasn't intentional. But continuing on with the race, lap 125, it was green flag pit stops, and both of the Kyles got pit road penalties. Kyle Larson was speeding, and Kyle Busch had an uncontrolled tire. And I know Chase Elliott had a speeding penalty at some point throughout the race.
Larson had 2 penalties.
Yeah, Larson had 2 speeding penalties, and Chase Elliott had at least 1 speeding penalty. But Joey Logano would win stage 2, making that 2 Penske cars winning the first 2 stages. And then stage 3 was relatively calm until about 51 laps to go. Tyler Reddick hit the wall, and that brought out a caution. And with 30 to go, Ross Chastain spun Kyle coming out of turn 4, coming to the flag, spun Kyle out. One interesting thing I found about both of these races is how much of a trouble spot turn 2 was, coming out of turn 2, because there were a bunch of Martin Truex Jr. Early in the race, he came up off of turn 2 and slammed the wall, and he was able to continue. And then there were a few people in the Xfinity Series who had the same issue, who kind of got up out of the traction compound and slammed the wall off of turn 2. So I don't know, Matthew, what do you think about turn 2, and do you think that was a trouble spot for them?
Yeah, mostly for the Xfinity race, but most of the time what I saw is a lot of drivers getting loose off that turn from my perspective.
After that crash with 30 to go and Kyle spun, it was green flag the rest of the way. It was Logano and Martin Truex on the front row for that restart, and Martin Truex Jr. was able to take the lead from Logano, and Martin Truex Jr. was able to get his first win of the 2021 season. That is 5 straight winners for the year, not new winners, but 5 straight different winners to start the season. So, Matthew, what's your thoughts on the Cup race and Martin Truex Jr. getting the win?
I thought it kind of was a disappointing race for me. I've been saying how much I love this 750 horsepower package, But I'm gonna be honest, the last race at Vegas was way better than this race, to be honest. And I had the 550 horsepower package. It just seemed like you just can't pass on the bottom lane. Like that PJ1 ruined the racing at that track today because of how you just gotta stay on that outside lane. If you try to pass on the inside, good luck, because it's gonna take a long time to pass one car. Unless you're the fastest car on the track, then it does work. But if you don't, then good luck. But let's see. Yeah, it was just not really a lot happened this race. It seemed like mostly it was a dominating day by the Penske cars, and then Truex at the end was like the fastest car on the track. What was I trying to say? Oh yeah. Some top 10 stories. I guess Christopher Bell, William Byron finished in the top 10. A couple of the young drivers already won races already this season. Already good top 10 finishes for those young guys. One person that should have been in the top 10 was definitely Bubba Wallace. He actually had a really fast car today. He was able to get to like 7th or 6th place at one point, but then the caution came out, and the crew chief decided to let him stay out, which was probably the dumbest decision you can make, because I feel like he would have finished the top 10 if he didn't do that, but they did, and they fell back hard, and ended up finishing 16th because of that. So their performance showed a lot today, but the result didn't show because of that terrible call that crew chief made. Kyle Busch, horrible day. I mean, everything you could think of went wrong for that team today. And if I were Kyle Busch right now, I would not be happy with Joe Gibbs right now. Like, you're basically giving all the good cars to the other three teams who are running the top 10 all day long in the lead, top 5. And here we are just trying to even get in the top 10, it seems like. It's starting to get ridiculous how we're talking about the best driver in Joe Gibbs right now statistically. 2 championships, almost 60 wins in the Cup Series. And he gets like the worst pit crew, the worst crew chief, and the worst cars out of the 4. That's a straight up insult to him. So they need to do something. They need changes immediately, ASAP, because they cannot do this the whole season. With all these new winners right now, 5 different winners, that playoff grid is going to fill up, and it doesn't matter if you had a good season or not. It could come down to the fact that he didn't win a race because we're having so many different winners right now. So they need to pick it up. They need to make some changes. Other than that, though, the rest of the JGR cars look fast today. The Hendrick cars also look fast, except for Bowman, who had a problem earlier in the race and didn't really recover from that. Stewart-Haas Racing, they got their step back a little. They got their speed a little bit from last weekend, which was horrible for them last weekend. Kevin Harvick was up there, and even Eric Almirola was up there. He finished 11th, which he definitely needed because he started off this season terribly. So it's good for them. They finally got a decent finish of it, but they need to still step it up because it's still a contract year for Almirola. But other than that, it wasn't really the best race to me, which I'm kind of disappointed about. I thought it would be a much better race than it was, but I feel like that PJ1 really made a difference with that.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know what PJ1 or this traction compound is that we're talking about, the NASCAR basically put some rubber on the top of the track, which would make it easier for the drivers to have grip up there. So basically, if you do that, all the drivers are going to go directly to that spot, and that made it really hard to pass on the bottom because the top group had a lot of grip with that traction compound. But I definitely think that did have an outcome on the racing today. I don't really think they needed to do it because the championship race was fairly decent. I would argue a little bit better than this race, but I don't know, hopefully NASCAR can take notes and not use the traction compound for the championship race in the fall, hopefully. But like you said, Joe Gibbs Racing, they had a pretty decent day, obviously with Martin Truex Jr. getting the win, Christopher Bell running up there, Denny Hamlin running up there. And with the whole Kyle Busch thing, I don't know if it's, I don't know, it can't be the cars. Like, it can't. Like, there's no way that they're going to give 3 guys a better car than Kyle Busch. Like, I
mean, that's what Hendrick did with Jimmy Johnson. They gave all the rest of the Hendrick cars good cars except Johnson, it seemed like.
I don't feel like they do
It's like it's getting the Jimmy Johnson treatment back when Jimmy Johnson wasn't really that good anymore compared to his prime years.
I don't think they would do that this early in the season, though. Like, later in the season, I would understand that if there was 1 or 2 cars that would be in contention for a championship, but I don't think they would start off the season giving people at their organization, quote-unquote, less better cars than everybody else. And you can't really argue about the crew chief thing either, because Ben Bayshore has worked with Kyle Busch before. I mean, debatably, they should have been able to keep Adam Stevens there, but Ben Bayshore is a good crew chief as well, and he's worked with Kyle before. But anyways,
well, yeah, whatever the problem is, whatever it is, they need to fix it ASAP, because we can't afford to have more of these runs the whole season.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's early. I don't know. It's tough because, like, you want to make changes, but also it's early in the season and things should start to click quickly. But anyways, Kyle Busch, yeah, not the best day for him. Hendrick, didn't Byron and Chase both finish in the top 10?
Yeah, Larson, Byron, and Elliott finished top 10. Alex Bowman did not.
Which is crazy, because especially for Larson and Chase, because Larson had like 2 speeding penalties and Chase had a speeding penalty, so it would have been interesting if they didn't have any penalties to see if they could have stepped up and been in contention against the Penske cars and against Truex there at the end. But unfortunately they had a bunch of penalties and that cost them a chance at the win, but still good runs for them. And like you said, Kevin Harvick for Stewart-Haas Racing showed some pretty good speed today. I don't think he had a car that could win, but especially because of how bad they raced there in the fall, it was good to see them come back and have a pretty decent run. So I would think Kevin Harvick is a pretty good bet for this weekend at Atlanta, especially after them being in the top 10 this week. So we'll see how that goes. But I think that's about all the main stuff from the race. And now we're going to give our ratings. Oh, wait, well, yeah, we'll do our ratings first, and then we'll talk about our little points thingamajiggy that we're doing this year between Matthew and I here. But Matthew, what's your rating for the Cup race here at Phoenix?
I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10. Like I said, it was just just average and kind of disappointing at the same time. I thought we'd have way better racing with this high downforce, not low downforce horse package, but it just wasn't really that good because they decided to put that PJ1 stuff up there and made it a one groove track basically, and made it really hard to pass on the bottom. So it wasn't really that good of a race to me. I'm just going to give it a 5.5 out of 10 because the restarts were good. I'll give it that. The restarts were kind of really good, but other than that, nothing else really happened special for me.
I don't know why we have such similar ratings like every single week, but like 5.5 is exactly what I'm going to give this race to, pretty much for similar reasons. I think the racing could have been a lot better if they didn't put the PJ1 down, but it is what it is, I guess. But the restarts were great, like you mentioned. They were 4 or 5 wide. On like one of the first, it might have been the initial start of the race, I don't know, but Brad Keselowski went literally all the way down and almost hit the pit wall or something on one of the starts of the
lap 1.
Yeah, lap 1. But yeah, that apron down at the bottom really allows them to get 4 or 5 wide going into the first turn, and then even through turns 1 and 2, there's drivers like way below the yellow line trying to use the apron through the corners. So I think that makes Phoenix unique because you can use basically the whole racetrack, and there's no quote-unquote out of bounds there, so you can go wherever you want to make it work. And I think it would have been, the racing would have been good without the PJ1, because you could use the bottom in turns 1 and 2 and use all that apron, and then you could run the top in 1 and 2 as well, but turn 3 and 4, you could kind of run the bottom or the top there too, but turn 1 and 2 is like the best part of the track. But anyways, I'm going to give this race a 5.5 out of 10 as well. And one of us finally got a prediction right. It took like 5 races, 5 weeks into the season, but one of us finally got a prediction right. I guessed Austin Cindric would win the Xfinity race. So how we're going to break this down is, if we get a truck or Xfinity pick right, we get 1 point. And then if our main pick wins the race for the Cup Series, we get 3 points. If our threat pick wins for the Cup, we get 2. And if our sleeper pick wins, we get 1 point. So, but since I got the Xfinity pick right, I get 1 point. And none of our picks won the Cup race. I don't think either of us expected Truex to be up there. But, yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, this is the second episode that we're filming with a bit of a new setup, as you can tell by the quality and the video editing and all of that stuff. So shout out to one of my friends for giving us some pretty good advice on how to record and edit and all that stuff. I think it looks great, and we're just going to keep improving from here. So
yeah, we don't want to blurry anymore.
Oh yeah, Zoom calls, recording Zoom calls is not the move, because
yeah,
Zoom quality it's just so bad. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. Thank